All right, Mgtow soldiers, this is Thick Immortal Mgtow with an emergency announcement, a call to action for all members of Mgtow in the gaming community. We have been invaded. Video games have been fully invaded by feminism and social justice warriors in regards to the nail in the coffin is BioWare's Mass Effect Andromeda. Mass Effect Andromeda. Purposely uglifying characters that were rendered from hired models to have beautiful people in a game, for a beautiful game. And we have uglified people to fit in with more average people. I guess, is that the average look? Are we trying to achieve an average look? I don't understand. You know, I understand that in terms of what's trying to be achieved here. But the game is dominated by female characters. There is a option to be a male character. I just, you know, in my mind, what I think is funny is that video games are such an easy target for some reason. I don't understand why. The one thing I truly don't understand is why why video games are attacked from all directions. Whether it's, you know, violence in video games causes real violence, which has been completely and scientifically disproven. Video games causes sociopathy or psychopathy. False. No, there's no evidence to that fact. That is a myth. It's an urban legend. It's a bunch of crap. There have been studies done that have tracked people over 10 and 20 years that play violent video games, and there is no indication that affects their real life behavior. Okay, there are some people that, whether it's a book or it's a television show or it's a video game, are not living in the real world. They're living in their own fantasy world. It doesn't matter what the stimulus is. They're going to do harm to other people because they're mentally ill. There are those people out there, and just because a mentally ill person plays a video game and then goes and commits a mentally ill act does not mean that the correlation doesn't mean the causation, right? So it's ridiculous, and now we're getting into. And I'm not even going to mention the person's name, but the woman who has really stirred the pot and made a career about discriminatory ideology in video games, which, if you really look at video games, because it is a modern or a postmodern phenomenon, women have played a prominent role in video games from the very beginning. So it's always been kind of a male techie geek kind of a pursuit. It's now more of an accepted, part of the zeitgeist. It's an accepted part of culture. It's just a part of culture. It has worked its way in. Mobile had a lot to do with that. It was still a bunch of guys, some females, of course, playing a console and their TV because they didn't want to go outside or they didn't want to compete in sports or whatever it is. I mean, it appealed to kind of your quieter, more geeky individual for the most part. I mean, these are broad brushes. But, I mean, I remember, Final Fantasy, Tomb Raider. I mean, how far back do you want to go? Valis. So many female protagonists in video games. I mean, they stand toe to toe with male protagonists in video games. There has never been genuine discrimination. It is not like there has never been a female protagonist or the female protagonist or something like, 2 or 5% of video games. That's crap. I mean, there is a Sin and Punishment on the N64. Female protagonist. You can continue to go on and on. Maria in Castlevania, female protagonist. Sometimes a supporting character, sometimes a protagonist. Same with male characters. Sometimes protagonist, sometimes supporting player. I mean, it's absolutely, it's intellectually bankrupt to say that there is true gender discrimination in video games. Now, that being said, I mean, do male gamers, and I think female too, like, you know, I've talked to female gamers on like massive multiplayer. They want their character to look hot. They want their character to look good. When they do the design model, they don't want a representation of themselves. They want an ideal. They want an ideal to represent themselves. A lot of men feel the same way. Hey, I want a guy with six-pack abs, and I want him to be thick, and I want to have cool hair, and I want him to spiky anime hair, whatever. You know, I mean, it's like, it's an expression. That's all it is. It's an expression. It doesn't, you know, and it doesn't reflect on discriminatory practices in the real world. When are we going to be able to say, see, this is where I think we get into the real territory of this. I think some people live in a fantasy world, whether it's political ideology or otherwise, of I was born this way. I see all these ideals in advertising and media. I feel bad about myself. My self-esteem is so low that I begin to disassociate, and I'm actually into a semi-fantasy world where, you know, I'm the hero that has to lower the bar for everybody so people like myself won't feel less or something, or won't have low self-esteem. Well, guess what? I mean, unfortunately, in this particular world, we haven't gone completely GMO with people yet. So, it's the kind of thing where it is a little bit of a lottery. You get good traits, you get bad traits. Some people look out and get and you know what? A lot of times, good-looking people are born from ugly people. Because you get all that recessive comes together in one person. They look out and they have a lot of appealing traits. And you know what? Good-looking people have medical problems. Good-looking people have psychological problems. Good-looking people have financial problems, sometimes quite compelling. It's not a reflection necessarily on how you live your life or how happy you are. Is it a nice benefit? Is it a leg up in some instances? In many instances. Yeah. People like being around good-looking people. People like playing games with good-looking people. And interesting characters. Okay? But to go in and purposely uglify characters and tweak with the population skewing, like we're going to have way more women in here, particularly in powerful positions, than you would normally see in any scenario. So again, what are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to alter reality? You're trying, and again, I'm all for egalitarianism, equal opportunity, but there are some genders that will have a leg up on other genders in different roles. That's just the biology. To say that we're not biological organisms with pluses and minuses on either side is farcical. It's naive. It's delusional. So this is where you get into Mgtow. And hey, recognizing the fact, and sometimes I think Mgtow is less of a men's movement than it is a realism movement. It's saying, hey, I'm a man, I'm able to do my own thing without these social structures that are in place that are designed to control me or to keep me under control. Marriage originally was to the benefit of females because they were considered dependents, and the man was seen as somebody able to provide for dependents in society. So you arranged, and marriage was designed to actually pay the man to take on the female and relieve her family of another dependent. They actually paid men dowry. I mean, and that's a this century thing, okay? The dowries have been paid. Dowries continue, and a lot of people don't realize that dowries continue to be paid to this day to men to take women out of households to relieve the household of a dependent. That's not the culture that we have now. But I'm saying marriage was it always was a financial contract. It was a financial contract to assume the dependency, and that female came into the house and you were paid to take this person into your household, and that person, the expectation was that she would take care of that household, to run that household for you if you wished. All right, so it was a social dependency model. It was a financial contract, but it was a financial contract to the benefit of the man for the most part. Now it's flipped. So now it's a financial dependency on the man is in the role of the dependent, but he's still, he gets no benefit, yet he pays everything. And it's still a financial contract that's enforced by the state quite rigorously. So, again, what are we trying to achieve here with taking a game, paying a model, having a beautiful character, okay, and not too much. I saw the character prior to their uglification or BioWare's uglification of the character, and she was a beautiful girl, but not something that I'm going to pull my heart out. I mean, it was very good. It was based on an incredibly beautiful girl, but it's like, again, these are rendered people running around doing stuff. What are you trying to prove here? What kind of social engineering, what kind of, mental manipulation are we dealing with here? I mean, and I'm sorry, the predominant market for that video game is white guys. Men in general, and probably majority of white guys. So you're letting us know that, women are going to be in power now. They're going to be the future. They're going to be the space travelers. You are relatively redundant. You are going to be cast into a supportive role. Exactly what women accuse men of doing. So you've become the monster you despise? Again, this is the kind of thing where time to boycott BioWare, which I'm doing. I'm not going to buy any more BioWare stuff. I'm not doing it. Don't lecture me. Don't put some kind of, basically what it is that it's a seminar in feminism with a veneer of a video game on it. I don't want that. Do I want women in my game? Yeah. Do I want them to have compelling roles and have the option to be the female protagonist? Yes. That's the way it's always been with video games. Castlevania, way back, Rondo of Blood. Play as Maria. I play as Maria. Love the character. I mean, what is the problem here, folks? What is I don't understand it. It is, again, disassociation, delusionment. It's some kind of communist, communitarianism kind of thing where we have to flip roles and we have to crush the dominating role. And it's too much. It's too much. Again, what it's designed to do is incite. This is what I don't like about this. It's designed to incite, to limit, to push down one group and incite them to extremes and or into violence and such. I'm not going to be manipulated by that. What I'm going to do is withdraw my energy from that system. BioWare no longer gets money from me. Ever. And companies don't last forever, everybody. That company will no longer get my money. And better watch out, EA, because you're associated with this junk. And I may pull my support of any EA product at all. And guess what? The market's big enough that I'll do just fine with my entertainment dollar. Again, no company lasts forever. EA and BioWare. So the boycott begins, and video games, one of the reasons that I believe that video games is why we're getting all of this social programming is because it's dominated in participation by men. A lot of guys play video game. It's a guy thing. And and again, video games is one of those things that Mgtow do to kind of entertain themselves so they don't have to participate in some of these, these contractual, ritual things that suck our money, put us in untenable legal positions, all kinds of stuff. Marriage, kids, you name it, false accusations, whatever you want. I mean, a true Mgtow is an entrepreneur who owns property, keeps to himself. I watched a video of an older Spanish man it was on a Mgtow video, and he said, a man is meant to live alone, calm, relaxed. He goes, you're not supposed to have females in your house, disrupting your peace and your calm. Have somebody come in and clean or clean yourself or whatever it is. But a man is meant to be solitary, alone, and calm. That's how you live so long. And he was sitting in the chair saying this, chain smoking at like 78 years old. And looked healthy as a horse because of stress. Stress is the killer. And he recognized that. He said, I live on my own. And I cook my own meals, and I clean my own house, and I tend a garden, and all the rest of it. Solitary, calm, alone. And he's like, yeah, do I entertain females? Yeah, sure. I have, but they don't live with me. They don't live with me. I keep my own place, and I keep to myself. And the guy's living to a ripe old age, meanwhile just like puffing away. And I'm like, there it is. And he even said it. He's like, the stress that causes these guys. He goes, all my friends, they die early. They never are allowed to have peace or relax. And that's something that I think Mgtow as freedom has really struck upon. I mean, you will be worked like a rented mule till you're dead. Till you're dead. You have to cut your own space out. And believe me, you have to cut it. But video games is one of those things that a solitary man can do to entertain himself. And they know it. And there's a social pressure in the media elites to attack the man in his home, where he rests, where he relaxes, where he enjoys himself. Now you're going to get the social programming lecture now in your video games too. Well, no, I'm not, because I will not participate in it. I will withdraw my funds and my energy from it. And I suggest that you do the same. Wherever you see heavy-handed social programming, and it's getting more and more common in video games, boycott them. Boycott them. So this is the red flag, gentlemen. We have been invaded, and it is time to strike back and vote with our dollar and do what we always do, which is go our own way, and that means away from social programming in video games. Peace. Thick Immortal Mgtow, signing off.